Hey, beautiful people, this is your girl and your host, Kayla Rose. Welcome to another episode of Soul Seed, the show which is dedicated to taking you to new levels of you. And welcome to Relax Radio. Thank you for joining. So, today I am going to be continuing in the Balancing Health and Hormones series, and we're going to be speaking about estrogen today. So, you guys can see that I'm a bit pinked up, pink lips, pink dress, even though we're doing it green on screen. So let's see what's going by there. So yet again, advertise with Relax Radio from our £1 introductory offer. And if you would like more information, please call 079 56 197. So product, service, or business you'd like to promote to our Relax Radio listeners and viewers, please do get in touch and take advantage of that great introductory offer. Also, please go and download our Relax Radio app. You can stay up to date with us on the go, hence the background. And also go and check us out on some of our other social media platforms. If Facebook isn't your favorite one, we are also on YouTube and Twitter. And you can also go check out our Relax Radio website as well. So now we've gotten some of that out the way. Also, happy bank holiday Easter Monday to you all. Yesterday I did, as I said, a bit of an interlude on this series and basically just came to wish you guys a happy Easter Sunday. And we spoke about some of the principles that we can take away from the Easter story and how we can possibly apply that to our lives to become better versions of ourselves. So, as I said, today I'm going to be speaking about estrogen, and maybe that will scare some of the men off, but some of the information is relevant to the guys out there as well. So please do stay and listen. Although I guess it is more female directed. So, what is estrogen, right? It is one of the categories of sex hormones which have a major impact in female development and some of their secondary features as well, some of their secondary sex features as well. But it also plays a role in a number of other functions within the body, which I am going to give to you guys now. So it plays a part in your mucous membranes, your heart and blood vessels, your pelvic muscles, bones, brain, breast and skin, also hair, and your urinary tract as well. So, those are just some of the functions within the body that estrogen affects. And there are three types of estrogen as well. So, I'm going to give those to you guys. And I think there's a few more, but the three main ones are estrogen, which is basically the main one we're going to be speaking about today, estrone, that's another one, and estrol. So those are some of the types of estrogen which take place in the body. So the first one I mentioned, estrogen, mainly made in the ovaries. Estrone, mainly made from body fat, and estrol is something which is mainly present in women during pregnancy. So getting to know self, definitely there. And I wanted to discuss with you guys also the reasons as to why you may have high estrogen and why you may have low estrogen as well. And I'm also going to go through some of the symptoms that you can experience as a male or a female. But continuing on with some of the functions of estrogen within the body also include the function of the cardiovascular system. We mentioned bone health already, right? And cognitive health as well. So we said that it affects the brain, but so that's also going to have an impact on cognitive processing and the ability to concentrate. So we're seeing with a lot of these hormones, even though it has a major effect on us physically, it can also have a major effect on us emotionally and mentally as well. So if you're experiencing mood swings, which are one of the things you can experience if you're having issues with estrogen, it could be possibly because of that. It's also made from cholesterol within the body as well, and particularly for women, it's a hormone which can possibly into play during puberty. So, what are some of the reasons for low estrogen? And you guys should be able to tell, it might be self explanatory within the word itself, whether it applies to males and females, but some of them apply to both, and some of them are just very specific to women. So, menopause, that's going to be a reason for low estrogen. Also, extreme exercise or training can cause a low estrogen within the body as well. A hysterectomy, if you're a woman who's had to go through that experience, that may be a reason why you're experiencing low estrogen, or it highly likely is. This also applies to removal of the ovaries as well. PCOS, which stands for polycystic ovary syndrome, for the ladies out there who may be suffering with that. And that did come up in the hormones live when we were speaking about insulin as well. So we spoke about how most of the hormonal systems all communicate with each other. So if you sometimes have issue in one area, you're likely to have an issue in another area as well. So you want to get them all as balanced as possible for optimum health. And also eating disorders, so anorexia or bulimia as well. Some reasons for high estrogen is our environment. So there's a lot of different things in our environment which act or mimic estrogen once they get inside our systems, and this can have a major impact as well. One of the things is plastic. So plastic has certain chemicals and it releases substances within the body which, as I said, mimic estrogen and can raise our estrogen levels, and that can be a big one for men in particular as well. It also affects women, but that can be a major reason for high estrogen in men. Also, any kind of birth control pills or injections, IUDs, or the implant is going to be releasing synthetic hormones into your system, and that can be a reason for high estrogen as well. So, going back to some of the things you may experience. So, I'm going to start with the ladies first. And some of the symptoms you may experience if you have low estrogen are infrequent or cessation of your menstrual cycle. That's going to be a big indicator. Hot flashes. So, I'm sure some of the mature women out there know exactly what I'm talking about. And yeah, for the younger ladies out there, that may be something that affects you as well. You may have trouble sleeping, so whether that's sleeping too much or just not being able to fall asleep. Also, dryness or thinning in any of your lady areas, that can be a symptom of low estrogen as well. Low sexual desire, so it can have an impact on your libido. Mood swings. As I said, I mentioned that one already. If you're having mood swings, particularly at certain points of the month or certain points in your cycle, it could be to do with an imbalance in your estrogen levels. Dry skin in general, headaches, definitely before your cycle starts, and also osteoporosis as well. We already mentioned that estrogen has a part to play in bone health. So that's something that could be a possibility as well. For men, I've only got a couple on the list for men at the moment, but for men, low estrogen could be belly fat. That could be a symptom of it, or it could also be low sexual desire, which can be a little bit surprising as well, because the dominant hormone for men is testosterone, but we see that they need estrogen as well, even though women have it in higher amounts. Men have a small amount of estrogen, and it's important for them to try and keep that balance within themselves as well. Otherwise, they could experience symptoms like that. Now, let's get on to high estrogen in women. So, could be weight gain, particularly around the waist, the hips, and the thighs. Yet again, you may get menstruation issues, really bad PMS, so mood swings coming up again. If it's too high or it's too low, your mood may be off. Fibroids. So fibroids or fibrocystic breasts. So these are non-cancerous lumps or tumors within these areas that could be as a result of too much estrogen in the system. Being fatigued, loss of sex drive, yet again, that one came up in low estrogen for the ladies as well. Being depressed or feeling anxious. And then for men, if men have too much estrogen within their system, they could have man boobs. So that may not just be diet, even that has a part to play in it as well. That is a reason for high estrogen in men as well. That's the number one reason for high estrogen is that estrogen in men is poor diet. So you may experience enlarged breast area, having issues with your guy parts, that could be a reason as well, infertility, and also moodiness. So that's something that comes up for men as well if they're experiencing high estrogen in their system. And something that comes to me from John Gray, he is the author of the book Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And even if you haven't read it, I've not read that book before, but I've watched a number of his talks and his lectures, and he has a lot of information. So I'm sure you guys have heard of that book before as well. It's become a bit of a common saying in just our culture, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. And he speaks about if men are experience high levels of aggression, it's actually scientifically proven that they actually experience high levels of estrogen during those moments and not high levels of testosterone as people originally thought, which I found an interesting point. So now we've spoken about some of the symptoms men and women can experience if they're having issues with estrogen in their system. What are some of the things that we can do to try and combat this? And I'm firstly going to give you a list of maybe things that you can do to increase your estrogen levels, and then I'm also going to give you a list of things that you can do to lower your estrogen levels as well. And the majority of this revolve around natural techniques. So hopefully things that you could just possibly start doing as from today if you've got it in your cupboard, or tomorrow if you need to go to the supermarket. But the number one thing in balancing health and hormones really is decreasing stress levels as much as possible, getting adequate amounts of sleep, and just generally trying to have a healthy lifestyle and a healthy diet. So increasing estrogen, flax seeds. So I was definitely on flax seeds I was doing flaxseed oil. I'm not doing it as much anymore, but that's a really good one. So as I said, that's something you can just pick up from the supermarket. Wild yam root. This is possibly a supplement that you can take, which is going to help increase your estrogen levels. A lot of dried fruits like apricots, they have more phytoestrogens. So it's not exactly like our biological estrogen, it's a plant version of it, but it mimics estrogen in the body and affects the cells with estrogen receptors in our bodies. So getting that dried fruit in may help. Also, vitamin D, that is going to help you to synthesize estrogen within your body. And we see that vitamin D seems to come up quite a lot when it comes to different health tips and things like that. So getting that sun as much as possible, or possibly supplementing, is going to be something that may be able to help you. Sesame seeds, this is something which is on the increased estrogen list. Soybeans as well, they are going to be able to help you. Hummus. I think that's a good one because hummus goes really nicely with some pita bread. So grab yourself some hummus if you need to help increase those estrogen levels. Garlic, possibly just incorporating more of that into your diet. That's going to be able to help with those estrogen levels, and also fennel as well. And I actually quite like fennel. I used to make fennel tea, so you can either get the seeds and kind of brew the tea yourself, or you can get tea bags as well. But only a few brands do fennel tea, but it is very refreshing. So that's a good one that you can try and incorporate into your diet. And then on the lowering estrogen list, the things that we have is removing as much plastic as possible. So if you can switch from plastic to glass as much as possible, minimize using the microwave. As I said, when we use these types of items, the chemicals from the plastic actually bleed out into the food, and eventually they get into our system and they can have an effect on our hormonal levels. So you want to get your cruciferous veggies in. I love saying that word. So basically, those are your dark leafy greens, and are going to include your broccoli, your kale, your cabbage, and those kinds of vegetables. Mushrooms, they say, are good for lowering estrogen levels. But of course, guys, go and do your own research. Make sure that it's something that's going to work for you. Make sure that the information is accurate and something that's going to be beneficial. But I'm just bringing the information. Then there's also red grapes. That's supposed to be a good one. And water. Water is just Mother Nature's miracle kind of liquid for a lot of different things. Basically, because it's going to just help in detoxifying your system. It's really going to help your liver to get out any excess, anything that you may have within your system. So just increasing your water intake is something that you can do to help lower those estrogen levels. Eating a fiber-rich diet. Yet again, fiber is one of those things that kind of pulls toxins out of our system and basically gets it out. So fiber rich foods is going to be a good one. Limiting refined carbs and processed foods. So as I said, I'm sure that tip came up in probably the last two lives in this series, particularly with the insulin. So it's the refined carbs, such as the pastries, a lot of the things that taste good but are not necessarily good for us. A lot of those things we need to try and minimize as much as possible if we can. But those complex carbs are still going to be okay to continue ingesting and consuming. You can avoid dairy and certain types of meat, or just meat in general. Dairy has a lot of hormones in it, particularly if it's not organic. Some of the animals, unfortunately, they're not taken care of very well, and they're injected with certain hormones. And say, for example, if it's milk, if the cow is being injected certain hormones, it's going into the cow's milk, and then you're consuming it. It's going to have an effect on your hormones and your hormone levels. So possibly avoiding dairy. That can seem to be an urgent for many people, and even myself. I try to balance how much dairy I have. And then also limiting caffeine and limiting alcohol. So those are the list of things that you can do to either increase your estrogen levels or lower your estrogen levels. So hopefully that was some useful information for you guys. Definitely just consolidated everything for me, just researching some of this information. Some of it I've done before and some of it was new to me. So as I said, it kind of consolidated the information for me as well. And definitely something that I need to make sure I am implementing. So I think I'm going to leave things there for today. I will be back on the next live and doing testosterone. So as I said, that one's going to be more men focused. So hopefully the guys will be available for that one. But yet again, ladies, this also applies to you. It's a bit of a vice versa thing. Even though men have more testosterone, women also have a little bit of testosterone as well, and making sure that we keep that in balance is something which is important for our health. So, and then after that, we're going to be doing the progesterone. So, as I said, hopefully you guys can come back and join me for those two. So this has been your girl and your host, Kayla Rose. Thank you for joining me. And this has been Somseed, the show which is dedicated to taking you to new levels of you. Thank you for joining Relax Radio as well. And in fact, I wasn't actually going to do a full quote of the week, but basically the quote for the rest of this series was going to be, let's talk about sex hormones. So that's basically it. And as usual, much love and stay blessed. Bye.